Software Dev Jason here. It's Friday night tonight. My niece has a race tomorrow, and I'm starting to panic a little bit because I haven't got nearly all the things done that I wanted to do. I got the bike in running condition on Wednesday night, and she went to a practice on Thursday with this bike. The bike ran great. She picked it up pretty quick. She's gonna have to learn how to ride it a little differently than her old bike, but for her first time on the bike, she did excellent on it. Did have a few problems. The clutch is acting a little strange, and I think I had mentioned I had already bought a clutch kit for it, which is what I've just done there. So the disc, or the spacer disc, and the clutch plates themselves, the friction plates, and the springs were all replaced. Yeah, so friction plates, separator plates, and heavy-duty clutch springs. So this is the EBC kit. I've heard some pretty good things about them. I soaked them for probably about 7 hours, maybe a little bit longer, which should have been plenty. But anyway, new clutch is going on. You know, I've got kind of a to-do list for myself for tonight. So I had to fix the chain guide bolt. There's a bolt underneath that the upper chain guide on the swing arm, the one that mounts over the swing arm. The bottom bolt, I don't know if it was the wrong size bolt that I replaced it with or something. Anyway, that bolt is gone, and it hasn't caused any problems, but that lower part's just kind of hanging there. So I need to fix that and find a bolt for it. The chain during that practice, it already stretched more than I would have liked for it to stretch. So I've got to adjust the chain and align the wheels back up. Changed the clutch out, which was the big job tonight, and I'm on the final stretch of that there. Drain and replace the coolant. I didn't have a lot of time to get the bike prepped to go to the track, but I did have enough time to get it full of fluids. And let's see, this is kind of our little practice bag we take with us, and this is the only thing I had on short notice to put in there. It's the Honda brand. It's already pre-mixed. It's the right stuff, but probably not what I would have chosen for the bike. At any rate, on the practices, it's kind of different because they send the bikes out and you get the ride for like 30 minutes straight, and then the big bikes come out and ride for 30 minutes, and the little bikes go out and ride for 30 minutes. So you're riding. She was riding the bike pretty hard for extended periods of time, quite a bit longer than she rides any of her motos. And at the very last 20 minutes of the night, it boiled over once on us. It just started spewing out of the overflow, and I don't know if that's because she wasn't going fast enough. I mean, she wasn't putting around. I mean, she was going pretty fast, but at any rate, it boiled over. So I went ahead and picked up it's the Husqvarna KTM brand Radiator Cap. I think it's the 1.4 DAR cap. Yeah, so I think that's like 20 psi or something. I'm not up to snuff on the conversions of that, but I think that's like 20 psi. But yeah, so I got a new radiator cap, and I also got some engine ice that I'm gonna fill it with tonight. So that first bottle there. But I don't think it'll be a problem tomorrow during the race because she doesn't ride for 30 minutes on those motos. Those motos are 5 laps, and that's over with in like 5 to 10 minutes. So she won't have enough time to overheat. But hopefully she won't be overheating at all. So the gear oil, the transmission oil, or case oil, whatever you want to call it, I've obviously drained that to change the clutch out. I'll be replacing that with Motor X. I need to bleed the clutch, and I need to adjust the rear brake. It works, but it's not stopping like it should. I'm not sure if it's just the pads are bad. There's still enough pad left on there. I just don't know if they had oil on them at some point, or someone sprayed WD-40 on them, or whatever. It wouldn't surprise me. The whole bike was kind of sprayed down with WD-40 when we got it. So yeah, for whatever reason, the rear brakes work, they function mechanically, but they're not stopping that well. So I'm gonna look at that if I have some time. I may try to bleed them again. I bled them when I put them back on, when I hooked the lines back up. Maybe I left some air in there, I'm not sure. Yeah, so I got all that to do before the race tomorrow, and it is already 11:30. Starting to panic a little bit because I don't know if I can get all this done, but I'm gonna give it my best shot, and hopefully we'll have us a pretty solid bike to run tomorrow. All I have to do to finish the clutch up is put the case back on, and I'm gonna try to go ahead and replace some of those old bolts while I'm at it. Alright guys, so here it is. I was up till about 3 o'clock in the morning last night, making a few more changes to the bike before it gets raced today. So this may be actually the last video in the rebuild, because I'm doing some other stuff to it, but it's not actually things that are necessary. I'm going to be putting some new clutch levers and brake levers on the top, and maybe a rear master cylinder rebuild kit and some things like that, but nothing that's actually broken. So I may do an update video later on the bike, but for now this is probably going to be into the rebuild, because it's being raced now, so it's in good enough shape to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it on this video. At the end of this video, I will probably put some GoPro footage of my niece racing this bike today. Anyway, last night I did a few things. I changed the clutch out. The old clutch fluid, I'm not sure what was in there, but it looked horrible. And the bleeder valve at the bottom, where you bleed the clutch, was so packed full of dirt that I couldn't force any fluid through it with a syringe. I mean, it was in pretty bad shape. So I went ahead and bled the clutch, put new mineral oil in it, cleaned all that up. There's all new bolts on the side of the clutch cover now. New gasket, new clutch cover gasket, new trans fluid, engine ice coolant in there now. I flushed it before I changed to engine ice. I flushed it about 3 times with distilled water in a 50-50 distilled water vinegar mix. Yeah, this is the condition of the bike now. I'll kind of do a quick walk around of it, just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. Not a show bike, but it's in pretty good condition now. It's easily a rideable bike. And it's not as clean as it was when we first finished with it, simply because it's already been practiced on once, and it was a muddy practice too. So I cleaned it up as best as I could for these videos. Well, I didn't do anything special. I just cleaned it like I normally would. But I put a new radiator cap on last night too. I think I mentioned that during the practice. She had been riding for about 30 minutes straight, and it bulled over. So went ahead and put one of those on there. I think that may have been the culprit. So new intake flange, new carb boot here. So this is the back side of the bike. Wheels didn't end up looking too terrible after stripping all that old paint off. They're a little dry now. I think some of the cleaner I was cleaning the chain with got on there. I could probably polish those up a little better. But I changed out all these bolts last night. So I'll probably get a water pump rebuild kit at some point. It still works fine right now, but and I'll change those bolts out while I'm doing that. I don't have the gaskets, so I didn't want to risk taking it off. That's how the pipe turned out after all that cleaning. So I think it turned out pretty good. Front brakes works really strong now. The rear brakes work decent. I think they need brake pads. I think they had a WD-40 or grease put on them. They just don't stop as good as they should. They function right, but the brakes themselves, the pads aren't that great. So I'll have to change those out. I realized the kill switch actually goes right here. I can't put that much space in between the kill switch and the clutch because this clutch is cut, and my niece has trouble grabbing it if it's all the way over here, a little bit farther over. So I had to put it right here for now. But when I get the new clutch lever, I'll move this back to where it's supposed to go. It's much better in there. Alright guys, this has been a fun project. Actually I spent a little bit more on it than I had to, just because, but turned out for the amount of money I put into it, it's about up to the same price that you can find another used 2007 KTM 65. And what's pretty awesome about that is that even though you can find another 2007 KTM 65 for about the same price of what I pay for it plus the money that I put into it, I don't think you're going to find one in this condition for that amount of money. So it turned out being a pretty successful project. Like I said, all new bearings all the way around. Everything is smooth. That front tire, you'll spin it and it just spins for days. The rear tire is real smooth. There's no rattling anymore. There's no play in that rear wheel. No play in the front wheel. There's no play in the swing arm. So all in all, it's a pretty solid little bike now. And I may throw some more pictures in at the end. I'm not sure. If nothing else, I'll put some GoPro footage from today at the race of her riding this bike. Again, cut her some slack because she's this is her first time on a two-stroke. She got to ride for about 30 minutes on it in practice, and it was a school night. We didn't get to stay that long, so she's got to put 30 minutes on the bike. But it's a big difference. This bike and her CRF 80, that's a big difference. You have to ride it completely different. So she's going to give it a shot today, and we'll see what happens. So I'll post that footage, or at least one of the motos I'll post. But she's going to get a lot better at it. But thanks for watching, guys. It's been fun.